SpaceX takes one giant leap for space tourism with a spectacular launch.
An attic find gives one lucky guy an amazing treasure.
And tonight, Carnival Fun comes to Little Elm with this year's Autumn Fest.
Thanks for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm David Moreno.
And I'm Hannah Gonzalez. Football season is upon us, and one of the most exciting parts is the pep rally prior to the game.
That's right, Hannah. I remember all the school spirit that filled the gym.
Yes, David, but unfortunately, Denton High School was unable to have that school spirit today. ntTV's Kayla Holt has more. Kayla?
Thanks, Hannah. Earlier today, Denton High School's pep rally was canceled due to threats made on Snapchat. It isn't clear what exactly the threats were or who made them, but according to Denton ISD, no active lockdown was put in place. Denton Police Department tweeted this statement saying there was no danger to students or faculty, and officers are actively investigating the threats. Luckily, the pep rally was rescheduled for later in the day, with the football game proceeding as planned. Hannah and David, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Kayla. A TikTok challenge promoted West Texas students to steal bathroom and safety supplies. CNN's Stephanie Douglas has more.
Viral on TikTok, influencing students to remove bathroom items like sinks, soaps, and hand sanitizers. But hygiene supplies aren't the only things that have gone missing.
Items that have gone missing include fire extinguishers, fire flashers, which are a visual indication for the hearing impaired, or emergency exit signs.
MISD spokesperson Elena Ladd says the district has received several reports of the challenge happening at its secondary campuses and has opened investigations into the thefts.
We are reviewing security camera footage of our schools to make sure that we are able to identify and locate any students who have been taking part in these activities.
The district says it plans to take serious action against students who are found guilty.
Students who are caught removing items like this from school not only could face potential criminal charges, but also disciplinary consequences like suspensions and removal from their campus to an alternative campus.
David, the fall season rolling around, I really hope temperatures start to cool down.
Well, I couldn't agree more, Hannah, but today was just another day of heat. Let's check in with our weather anchor, Lexi Flores, to see what we can expect for the rest of the evening. Lexi?
Thanks, David. Now, temperatures aren't dropping just yet as we are still experiencing warmer days out. Taking a first look, our current temperature is at 91 degrees and we have some sunny skies out. Going into tonight's conditions, we are going to have clear skies and it is going to drop at 71 degrees. Taking a look at tomorrow's conditions, we are going to jump back into the higher temperatures as we are expected to sit around 93 degrees with a wind speed of about 10 miles per hour. That's all I have for a first look, but stay tuned later on in the show for more weather updates. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Lexi. Now, how would you feel if you couldn't step foot on your own college campus? Well, students from Sacramento State University are being banned from the campus due to not being vaccinated. The university is giving other options, such as getting tested or even taking classes online. CNN's Walter Michaela reports on the campus's rules.
The deadline for Sacramento State students to certify that they've received a COVID-19 vaccination was on Monday.
87% of our students met that deadline.
Vice President of Student Affairs Ed Mills sent an email to the remaining 4,306 students,
letting them know that since they had failed to meet that deadline, they were not allowed on campus until they completed that certification.
Between Monday, when that email was sent out, and Wednesday afternoon, about 2,100, or nearly half of those not certified, are now in compliance.
Oh, no way. That's crazy. That's awesome, yeah.
And just having that protection and knowing everyone else around here has to have that level of protection just makes you feel a bit more safer.
But not every student is happy about it.
I feel like the kids should have had at least a choice of whether we should get it or whether we shouldn't get it. But at the end of the day, we have to listen to the higher ups if we really want to pass to get that degree.
Students have to provide which vaccine they received and the dates. The university has the ability to verify that information. They're also asked to upload a copy of their vaccination card through the student portal. Students who are not vaccinated or choose not to share their proof of vaccination have a choice.
To declare a medical or religious exemption, or let us know that they were taking fully online classes and would not be physically accessing the campus.
Cairo Torres has one of those exemptions.
We have to get tested twice a week. That's a lot of strain for some people.
If students don't submit their certification or have not been participating in the on-campus testing program set up for those with approved exemptions, this administrator says,
we will drop the in-person classes that they have. They can retain online classes, but any in-person class will be administratively dropped from their schedule.
Walter McCalla, KCRA 3 News.
And while the California universities had a deadline of last Monday, UNT has a COVID testing deadline of this Monday. All students, faculty, and staff are required to have a COVID test at various times throughout the semester. The first deadline is September 20th. If you have your vaccinations, upload the information to the UNT Health and Wellness website. And if you need to be tested, there are several choices on campus. The Health and Wellness Center offers free, no-cost testing for walk-in appointments. You'll need to register in the NAVCAT app before you receive a nasal swab. Luckily, the results are available in roughly 20 minutes. Other on-campus testing sites are the Student Union Room 381, also a walk-up facility. And finally, you can get the PCR test at UNT's Goolsbee Chapel. That one is a self-administered test with a 1 to 2 day turnaround. And if you want to skip mandatory testing, UNT officials recommend you get vaccinated.
So Hannah, wouldn't it be cool to vacation in outer space?
I think that would be the perfect place to get away from it all.
Well, we'll have that story and we'll tell you how to spend a little quality time down here on the ground, listening to some great tunes. Stay with us.
When you park in front of the ramp, somebody can't make it up the ramp. When somebody can't make it up the ramp, they miss their class. When they miss their class, they fail.
Would you be worried to go to space without a trained astronaut? I know I definitely would. SpaceX just launched the first rocket with an all-civilian crew. This brave crew is led by billionaire Jared Isaacman, who funded the flight. CNN's Kristen Fisher has more on the story.
Well, it was a spectacular and successful nighttime launch from the Kennedy Space Center. And what makes this Inspiration 4 mission so extraordinary is just how ordinary the crew is. None of them are professional astronauts, and yet they're going to be orbiting the Earth for the next 3 days before splashing down in the Atlantic Ocean. On board, a 29-year-old pediatric cancer survivor and physician's assistant at St. Jude's Children's Hospital. There's also Dr. Cyan Proctor, who applied to be an astronaut back in 2009, came this close, didn't quite make the cut. She was devastated. Now she gets to achieve her lifelong dream. There's also Chris Simbrowski, who was watching a Super Bowl commercial for this mission. He entered a sweepstakes. His friend got the golden ticket, but gave it to him. That's how he ended up on board. And finally, the commander, Jared Isaacman, a billionaire businessman, an entrepreneur, a pilot, and he's really the brainchild for this mission. He went to SpaceX back in October about something totally different, mentioned in a passing comment, hey, if you ever want to send me into space, I'd be game. And now, here he is in orbit less than a year later.
I wouldn't say pressure, because pressure would mean like I'm nervous about the outcome here. I think that responsibility is really the word, right? And that this is a big responsibility, and we have to execute really well and get this right so that the door can stay open for all to follow.
Jared Isaacman talks a lot about opening up space travel to everyone and democratizing space, and that's really central to SpaceX's founding mission, which is to make humanity multi-planetary, to colonize Mars. And so in order to do that, you have to prove that your everyday person is capable of dealing with the rigors of orbital spaceflight, and that is exactly what the Inspiration 4 crew is going to spend the next several days doing. At the Kennedy Space Center, Kristen Fisher, CNN.
The city of Louisville is taking action on their lack of public parks. UNT's Urban Policy and Planning Department is collaborating with the city to create a park from the ground up. Assistant Professor Lauren Fisher, along with her students, are working on a 2-acre property that will serve up to 4,500 residents.
Our goal with the park project is to build the parks contextually. We're starting this program of research where we're going to be going into each of the neighborhoods and collecting data and talking to residents. So we make sure that we make park investments that are meeting them where they're at in terms of their recreational and open space needs. We expect each park to look different, because parks should be a reflection of the quality and the character of the community they serve.
David, with all this talk of going to the park and the UNT football game this weekend, I really hope the weather stays nice.
You know, I'm really hoping to feel a breeze real soon, because I cannot wait to pull out all of these fall sweaters. Lexi, what can we expect for the rest of the week?
Thanks, David. Now, I would hold off on the fall sweaters as we are still experiencing warm temperatures out. And taking a look at our North Texas area, we all seem to be experiencing similar temperatures from the mid to upper 80s and going into those 90s. Now, taking a look across the state of Texas, everyone is getting to experience that proud Texas heat, as we have El Paso reaching 95, Austin sitting at 94, and even up north in Oklahoma reaching the 90s. Now, taking a look at our 7-day forecast. We are expected to have a sunny rest of the week, and we are expected to have high temperatures throughout the week, sitting in the lower to mid 90s. Luckily, we are going to get a little bit of a break from the sun, as in the evenings we are expected to have temperatures in the lower 70s. That's all I have for weather tonight. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Lexi. With this nice weather, it's important to take full advantage of it before it gets too cold. Lucky for us, Little Elm Park is hosting their 2021 Autumn Fest. ntTV's reporter Armando Berry is live at the festival to tell us more. Armando.
Thanks, guys. Today is day 1 at the Autumn Fest at Little Elm Park. The event has a carnival with rides and games and live music for the whole family to enjoy. Autumn Fest will be going on for the next 4 days until Sunday, so you still have the chance to check it out. The hours will be 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, and 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Sunday. You can purchase an armband that gives you unlimited rides for the day at the gate for $25, or in advance at the rec at the lakefront front desk, or the Little Elm Library for $20 until they run out. If you aren't able to make it out to the Autumn Fest at Little Elm Park, there is still another festival taking place this weekend, a little closer to home. Our reporter Kelsey Clark is live there with more. Kelsey?
Thanks, Armando. The Denton Black Chamber of Commerce is excited to announce the 23rd Annual Denton Blues Festival this weekend. Musicians including Rockin' Dispose Jr., who has got to talk today, will be performing live.
Happiness about playing your festival was that I was told that I was going to be the first Zydeco artist ever to close down the festival, a blues festival, close that blues festival on a Saturday night. So I was happy to hear that.
Other musicians include Mr. Sip and Mike Zito, who will also be performing throughout the weekend. Live music isn't the only reason to attend the Blues Festival, though you can also expect karaoke, vendors, and arts and crafts. All of this and more is on Discover Denton website. This fun-filled weekend is located here in Quakertown Park, and I hope to see you there. And we'll see you after the break.
Now Microsoft is making it safer and easier to log into your accounts. The move is part of the company's passwordless future and will go into effect this week. Consumers will be able to use security keys or verification codes in place of their passwords. But if you're in a hurry, another option is Windows Hello, which will let users sign in with their face, iris, or even fingerprint. It'll be as easy as logging into your smartphone, but safer than a simple, guessable password.
David, what's one way you like to spend your free time?
Well, Hannah, I've always loved just staying home and watching a very good musical.
Well, David, you're in luck because our segment anchor, Bailey Voller, has some new recommendations for you. Bailey. Hannah and David. Spielberg's West Side Story releases a preview while a new film deals with issues of immigration and deportation. This week, Nickelback set a milestone with the digital release of the hit album Silver Side Up.
I never seen you before. You're not Puerto Rican.
Is that okay?
Do you want to start World War III?
20th Century Studios has released a preview of Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, starring Baby Driver's Ansel Elgort as Tony and Rachel Zegler in her big screen debut as Maria. The curtain goes up December 10th.
Antonio LeBlanc. How you get a last name like that? I was adopted.
The issue of immigrants adopted as children being deported decades later is at the center of the film Blue Bayou.
I didn't know there was so many adopted children, not only in America, but around the world, who had ended up in this legal place where there was a loophole where governments can actually deport them away from their home countries, families, and children.
These children are brought from a different country at a very young age. And I think it's the adult's responsibility, if they are brought as children, that the proper paperwork and everything is taken care of for them. But to find out as an adult you're not considered American, I just don't think it makes any sense.
Nickelback's Silver Side Up released 20 years ago this week. Rhino Records says the #1 hit, How You Remind Me, has surpassed 1.2 billion streams, and to mark the occasion, a new digital release of the album is out now. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
And that's what's happening in Hollywood. We'll see you next time on Seen and Heard, and now back to the desk.
Thanks, Braylon. Now, over the past year, so many businesses have struggled under the weight of the pandemic, and now a famous business in California is saying goodbye and closing its doors. This time it's the Museum of Pinball, which has the largest collection of pinball machines in the world, with over 1,700 machines. The museum is currently auctioning off its collection of rare and fun machines and arcade games, with more than 750 of them already sold. Now the rest of them will be available for sale at a weekend-long auction taking place later this month.
David, it seems like the Mean Green football team are on a pinballing their way around consistent success.
That's right, Hannah. Let's go over to our sports anchor, Zach Fox, who has more. Zach.
Nerve-wracking to say the least. UNT at home Saturday, but another team will use Apogee tomorrow night. Details on who when we return. 2 weeks ago tomorrow, 6A high school football powerhouse Allen Eagles were dethroned at home against humble Atascocita, a team who is now ranked number 5 in Texas from the Houston area. This snaps the Eagles' 84-game win streak at Eagle Stadium. Allen now is 122-1 in the new $60 million stadium. Fast forward to tomorrow night, and Atascocita will duel number 7 in Texas, Denton Geyer. Geyer also 2 weeks ago had a major upset in taking down Denton Ryan, formerly known as number 21 in the state, 14-7. Ryan had a 60-game winning streak in regular season games before the Wildcats made their entrance. The two undefeated teams will square off in a new home. How about Apogee Stadium? Yes, both teams look to get back into the AT&T for the state finals, but this will be the closest to a playoff atmosphere they will see for the time being. Atascocita Eagles, the Geyer Wildcats, the two stars align tomorrow night, 6:30 at Apogee. The Cowboys obviously getting back on the injury train as defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence will miss anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks with a broken foot. Joining the inactive list for Sunday's upcoming game is also Randy Gregory, who came down with COVID-19. Zach Martin, however, will return from the COVID injury reserve list and will serve as a key role in the Cowboys' run game Sunday at the Chargers. UNT coming off an emotional roller coaster of a game at SMU last Saturday. How do you go from down 7-6 at half to imploding to a 35-12 loss? Well, either way, UAB is next on the list. UAB with a 31-0 victory over Jacksonville State in Week 1, and most recent loss to number two ranked in the nation, Georgia Bulldogs. The Blazers only put up 7 points, but expect the Blazers' fire to return to Apogee. UAB completely dominant in Conference USA games in recent years, and they are being led by senior quarterback Tyler Johnson III. 37 touchdown passes in his career, and UAB 18-3 against Conference USA West Division opponents. UNT last beat UAB in Denton 46-43 in 2017, and the Mean Green look to snuff out the Blazers Saturday at 7:30. Hannah?
Thanks, Zach. Small acts of kindness go a long way, but this act led to a $1 million donation to the Marion Military Institution in Alabama. CNN's George McDonald has more on this charitable act.
We had an alumnus from San Antonio, Texas, who had not been in touch with us since he graduated from MMI, and he had lost his yearbook.
He was looking for a yearbook from 1969.
And we didn't have an extra one.
But a few weeks later, another graduate, totally unaware of the situation, finds a box of MMI yearbooks in a thrift store. He bought the box of yearbooks and donated them to the school. And as fate would have it, a 1969 yearbook was among the collection.
Vanessa Nicholson is our archivist, and she promptly gets the 1969 yearbook and mails it to this alumnus. Dr. George Rapier is his name.
Rapier eventually reached out to school officials about making a donation to the school, although he'd done neither of those things before over the years.
The gift arrives, and we all are anticipating opening this gift, and there's the check for $1 million.
We weren't expecting that, you know. A $1 million check isn't something you see every day, that's for sure.
Mollahan says the experience reinforces the focus the school puts on leadership and character development.
It was a good way to reinforce why being good and being kind and saying nice things to people and just helping them out can come back and really give you something back that you hadn't expected.
Reporting from Marion, George McDonald, Alabama News Network.
Wow, what a great story, Hannah, don't you think? It's always just so important when people really take the time to, donate back to these institutions.
That's right, David. I really think it impacts the current students there.
For sure, I definitely agree. Well, thanks for watching ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow night at 6 here on North Texas Television.